I'm Ken Verderami, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Steel Shooter, where we talk about all things and only things Steel Challenge. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode here. If you're brand new to this to the channel, welcome, and please hit that subscribe button and help the channel grow. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you for your support as always. Please remember to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and of course, if you have a comment or a question or something you'd like to have me talk about in the future, please put that in the comments as well. I read every single comment and I try to respond to all of them as well. And we'll take your suggestions and try to make these videos better and address the kind of things that you guys want to talk about. All right, so today's topic, pretty simple. I'm going to talk about the 5 top reasons why you can't seem to get any faster. So this applies to several different kinds of shooters out there. Maybe you've been training really hard for quite some time and you kind of, no matter what you do, you seem to be at the same speed. Maybe you get a little bit better, but you can't seem to make any major improvements. You're not able to push past the next classification, or you're just kind of stuck and you've been there for quite some time. Or maybe you're relatively new and you see all these guys, you go to these matches, you see guys putting down these amazing times and you wonder, how the heck do I shoot that fast? I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing to learn how to be a fast shooter. So I'm going to give you the 5 top reasons and what to do about them, why you can't seem to get any faster. All right, so here we go. Number 1, and I'm going to do an in-depth video on this in the future, but I'm just going to talk about it real quick. And that is, you have terrible footwork on outer limits. Okay, most people I see shoot outer limits, particularly those who've got no USPSA shooting background, are horrible at outer limits, right? They may have pretty good times for the rest of the match, but they get to outer limits and they're putting down these 17, 18, 19, 20 second stage times for outer limits, completely destroying what otherwise is a pretty decent match. So, and it's not a matter of how fast you're shooting or even how well you're shooting. It typically comes down to you have no idea how to move between the shooting boxes. And there's very specific techniques that help you shoot that stage down below 5 seconds per run and even below 4 seconds per run. And I will show you how to do that. If you happen to have my first book, there's an entire chapter dedicated with pictures on outer limits footwork. But if you don't, I suggest you might want to go check that out on Amazon, or you can check out an upcoming video where I'll go into the details of the footwork. So that's number 1. All right, the number 2 reason why you can't get any faster is you're not using what I call the eyes first transition technique. You're doing some other method of, after you pull the trigger on a target, figuring out how you get to the next target, right? And what I'm talking about is the eyes first is after you confirm that you've hit the target, what's the very first thing you do after that is your eyes need to move to the next target. Not the gun, not your hands, not your body, anything else, right? So you're shooting that first target and your eyes go to the next target and maybe your head, if it's a wide enough transition, and then your gun moves to where your eyes are looking. That is a huge speed enabler, and it's the reason that the top shooters are able to shoot so fast is that they get their eyes to the next target and the gun automatically goes to where you're looking. You don't have to hunt for the target. Your brain knows exactly where to go, and more importantly, it knows where to stop because you're already looking at where you want to shoot next. Okay, it's critical that you learn that eyes first transition technique and not doing it simultaneously. And if you watch a shooter, you can tell what kind of transition technique they have. Right? If they move to a target and the gun doesn't just stop like it's on a laser, it kind of it gets to the target and kind of hunts and kind of settles. That tells me that they're moving the gun at the same time as they're moving their eyes, and therefore everything's got to catch up to find that target. Whereas if you do eyes first, you look at the target, and then as you move, your brain knows, and it stops right there. You don't even have to think about it. Okay? So that's number 2. All right, number 3, and this is a biggie. They don't know how to call their shots. Okay? There are 3 techniques that I know of to determine whether you've hit the target and can therefore do the next thing, which is move on to the next plate. Number 1 is what brand new shooters do, right? They visually score their target. Pull the trigger, go bang, and you look and see if you hit the plate. Does it work? Well, sure it works. It's pretty slow, but it does work. Okay? The other thing a lot of shooters do is they do what I call, they wait for the ding, right? Fire the shot, and they'll wait to hear if they've hit the plate, right? Most metal plates, when you hit them with a bullet, make some kind of ding sound. And they go, oh, I heard that it hit the plate, and therefore I can now move on to the next one. Okay, well, guess what? That's even slower than visually scoring your target because you're using the speed of sound as your cue, right? At least when you're visually looking, you use the speed of light. When you're waiting for sound, you're using the speed of sound, right? And at sea level, it's 1,000 feet per second, not 186,000 miles per second. And so it's incredibly slow. Okay, but in fact, you hear a lot of people shooting go, oh, you know, I don't like this steel this club uses because you can't hear it very well. It doesn't make any sound. I used to tell people when I was shooting at those clubs, I said, you know what, I can be deaf and it doesn't make any difference. In fact, right, I wear hearing aids, right? So I don't have fabulous hearing, but it doesn't matter. I don't use sound to determine whether you're scoring. So you need to learn to call your shots. I did a whole video on that a little while back. Check that out. If you don't remember, I'll put a link in the description towards that video if you want to go check that out if you didn't see it before. But it is one of the most basic speed enablers in our sport is learning to call your shots. I'll tell you that you're probably never going to get past A class if you don't know how to call your shots. You just can't go fast enough by using other techniques to be able to make it. So that's number 3. Okay. Number 4, this one isn't as well known in Steel Challenge. It's well known in USPSA shooting as a as a speed enabler, but you don't hear talked about that much in Steel Challenge, but it's huge. And that is shooters use sight focus versus target focus. So what does that mean? So sight focus means you're focusing on your sights to determine when to break the shot, right? Equal height, equal light, hard front sight focus where the front sight is clear, the backs are blurry. If you're an orange sight shooter or if you're an open shooter, you're looking for that red dot and trying to chase a dot all around. Okay, that's sight focus. That's pretty slow when you compare it to target focus. Target focus is you're literally looking through your sights, but you're looking at the target. So the target is crystal clear and your sights are not perfectly clear. Front sight, rear sight, dot doesn't really make a difference because you're focusing on the target, because all that matters is if that sight is anywhere on that clear target, you can go ahead and pull the trigger. You don't need to wait, right? You don't need this perfect sight picture. And so trying to get this perfect sight picture, you're wasting a lot of time. And so USPSA shooters understand that. And when they want to go fast for targets that are close enough, they're going to use target focus where they see the target and then they see their sights just through it and they go and they focus on the target only. And it's amazing how much faster you can shoot. So if you're using your sight focus only for every single target, whether it's the 7-yard plate on roundabout or smoke and hope, or the 18-yard plates on pendulum, try working with target focus and get your sights to be a little bit blurry. Start out with the easy ones, right? On smoke and hope, on roundabout, accelerator, first couple targets, 5 to go, the first few targets are in close. We're all less than 15 yards and they're 12-inch plates. They're pretty big. Try working on target focus and not on your sights when you're shooting those, and I think you'll see that you can actually shoot those faster. All right, that was number 4. Now, the last one, and this one very few people do, but it's really, really critical, if you want to learn to go fast. Certainly if you want to make master or GM, you need to learn this technique. And that is you're over aiming. I see so many shooters who over aim at every target, right? So what does that mean? That means if you line up on a target, let's say you're an iron sight shooter, and you do the equal height, equal light thing, right? So it's perfectly centered, and then you got a hard front sight focus, so it's perfectly clear, and the sights are blowing, everything's lined up, right? And you're waiting to get that perfect sight picture dead center on the target before you pull the trigger. Are you going to hit the center? Well, of course you are. It's very slow, okay? Remember, a hit is a hit. An edge hit counts the same as a dead center one, okay? And so what I mean by over aiming is they get too much of a refined sight picture that is required to hit the target every time. And so if you think about it, how much focus sight picture do you need to hit 18 by 24 inch plate that's 7 yards on smoke and hope? Probably not that much, right? Most people kind of just point the gun at, and you see the barrel on the big white thing, and you're going to hit the target, right? Not much of a sight picture. You know, change that up to the 10-inch plate at 18 yards on pendulum, and now you need a little better sight picture. The key is you need to figure out for your current skill level and your gun and your sights and everything else you're doing, what's the absolute minimum sight picture you can get away with and still hit the target every single time. That's the only sight picture you should be aiming for, pardon the pun, and nothing better than that. That enables you to say, good enough, pull the trigger and go, not hunting around for the perfect sight picture, okay? So how do you do that? I've talked about this before. You want to probably try this on your very next time you go out in the range and get used to doing this. And that is, pick a target, start out with a simple target at 7 yard or 10 yard, 12 inch plate, whatever, and then line up your sights, dead center, and pull the trigger. And you should, if you do your part correctly, that bullet should go dead center on the plate. Then start to walk off your sight picture to make it less good. Right? If you're an iron guy, instead of being center, right, move it a little bit more like that and start to bury it, okay? If you're a dot shooter, move the dot off center. Do your part with grip and trigger control and pull the trigger. You should still hit the plate, okay? Keep unrefining your sight picture until when you do things correctly, you actually miss the plate, okay? Then you back off again until you can hit the plate with your least good sight picture. And then you want to just memorize what that sight picture was for that target and that distance. And you need to do this for every particular target at Steel Challenge, okay? And literally memorize what those sight pictures are. And then in training, practice. As soon as you get that minimum sight picture that you remembered for that target, you pull the trigger instantly. Don't wait another second. Don't refine it anymore. Pull the trigger, break the shot as soon as that minimum sight picture is accomplished. And you keep doing that enough in training, and eventually that's the only sight picture your subconscious mind will look for. And in a match, subconsciously, as soon as your brain sees that minimum sight picture, you'll break the shot and you can move on to the next one. You won't waste time refining it to get a better sight picture because you don't actually need a better sight picture. That's huge, okay? All right, so there you have it, guys. Those are the top 5 reasons why you can't get any faster. I'm going to review here real quick for you. Number 1, you got terrible footwork on outer limits. Number 2, you don't use the eyes first transition method. Number 3, you don't know how to call your shots. Number 4, you're using a sight focus instead of a target focus on every plate. And then number 5, you're over aiming. All right, so pick those. You may have only one of them. You may have all 5 of those as issues. And just pick the ones that you're struggling with the most and start burning them down in training and fixing them one by one by one. And you should relatively quickly start to see improvements in speed. And eventually, if you fix all 5 of these, I guarantee you'll jump at least one classification and maybe 2 within 6, 8 months, certainly a year, if you're training hard enough. right? So give those a try. I think you'll really like and see the results. All right, so remember, if you're interested in my dry fire training system for Steel Challenge, head on over to our website, steelshootbanners.com. We have all 8 Steel Challenge stages there in banner form. If you're a USPSA shooter, we have over 40 training drills in banner form, patterned after many of Ben Steiger's training methods. Ben and I worked, he helped me quite a bit on those particular banners, so they kind of had his seal of approval, and he's mentioned them on his podcast before. Check those out. I've got 15 USPSA classifier stages in banner form, and we've got the Glock GSSF 3 official stages in banner form as well. So check all those out. Don't forget my 2 books, Do You Feel the Need for Speed and The Game Within the Game, both available at Amazon Books. And as always, remember, slowing down is never the right answer. Never. You need to learn to see fast.